It's Tuesday, January 14, and we're already into the second week of the year. We hope you're making good progress on your goals. Hello and welcome to this edition of Jamaica Magazine. I'm your host, Adrian Atkinson. Coming up, we'll take a look back at the Ministry of Justice's year in review. Do stay with us. We'll be right back after the break.
In 2024, the Ministry of Legal and Constitutional Affairs shaped Jamaica's future, from advancing constitutional reform to plans for a digital legal information portal. Progress marked every moment, every milestone. Join us for the review of these 366 days.
Good day, I'm Lisa Rowe and this is your JIS News for Tuesday, January 14, 2025. The government is to launch a new layer of social housing intervention aimed at improving the living conditions of more Jamaicans. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness made the disclosure last Friday following the handover of 3 units under the new Social Housing Program, NSHP. He says the new component of the program will take the form of home improvement for existing structures, such as the installation of windows, roofing, or adding an extra room. This, he says, will allow the program to reach more persons and not restrict the NSHP to building an entire house.
We are looking at a new program now that will seek to address the conditions of housing generally across the country. That once we have assessed the home as being in need, we will try to ensure that the house has at least one secure room. And that became very apparent after the hurricane that struck us in July, Hurricane Beryl, that several houses were just totally destroyed and lost roofing. But if they had one secure roof, one secure room, or one secure part of the building, the dislocation that happened will be minimized.
Under the NSHP, over 300 families across the country have received new homes. This includes 3 St. Mary residents who received keys to their 2-bedroom and 1-bedroom units from the Prime Minister on Friday. The Jamaica Defense Force JDF-led exercise event Horizon 2025 is being hailed as a high-level validation program designed to simulate real-world threats or disasters in a controlled environment. The multinational, multi-agency and multi-domain exercise was launched on Monday on the recreational lawns of the Bank of Jamaica, downtown Kingston. Chief of Defense Staff Vice Admiral Antoinette Weems-Gorman says the third staging is a demonstration of partnerships among nations to foster regional peace and security. It provides participating nations and agencies with the opportunity to test their readiness, coordination, and operational capabilities.
This year's iteration is not merely an exercise of military and other security institutional capability, but it is also a demonstration of the enduring partnerships we have built across borders, agencies, and domains.
She adds that the exercise serves as a reminder that security is not the responsibility of one nation or one institution, but is a shared duty.
It is an opportunity for us to hone our skills, improve our interoperability, and strengthen the bonds of trust and collaboration essential in confronting the evolving challenges of our region's stability. This year's exercise will test our ability to respond collectively and effectively to real-world scenarios, ensuring that we remain ready to protect our respective countries.
The Chief of Defense Staff urged each participant to approach the exercise with the utmost discipline, professionalism, and commitment. A key feature of the ceremony was a sail and fly past of maritime and aerial assets at the Kingston waterfront. Exercise Event Horizon 2025 will see the participation of 14 nations, 33 agencies, 11 aircraft, 9 surface assets, 43 planned key events, and more than 500 exercise participants. It runs from January 12 to 26 and will feature several activities in Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, and offshore Haiti. The Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce says it will be working with stakeholders to develop a strategic roadmap to expand the market for Jamaican Blue Mountain coffee. Portfolio Minister Senator Auburn Hill says this will be done while leveraging the existing stronghold in traditional markets such as Japan.
I'm totally committed to help growing a lot more Jamaican coffee, and especially Jamaican Blue Mountain coffee for exports around the world. Yes, continuing with Japan. Yes, continuing with the United States. Yes, exporting more to Switzerland, more to China, more to everywhere else. And even in the United States and Japan, where we're established, I need to see a lot more export going there. And I am committed to work with Minister Green and the growers of coffee.
Minister Hill was speaking recently at the launch of the Jamaica Blue Mountain Coffee Festival. He committed to working with the Tourism Ministry to make sure every hotel in Jamaica is outfitted with a kiosk for Jamaican Blue Mountain coffee. He also called on distributors to ensure farmers were properly compensated for the commodity they produce as part of the efforts to boost production and livelihoods.
Distributors, we want to make sure our coffee farmers are getting the benefit that they farm from. So we must make sure the profits that are made from coffee get down to the farmers so they can live a better life, their children can live better, they can live in better houses.
In 2022, Jamaica was recorded as the 62nd largest exporter of coffee in the world and the 11th most exported product from the country for the same year. Meanwhile, Hope Gardens is the new venue for this year's Jamaica Blue Mountain Coffee Festival. Now in its 8th staging, the festival will be held on March 1, 2025. Addressing the launch via a video presentation, Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett said the finest Blue Mountain coffee would be showcased alongside local artisans and culinary delights, fostering economic growth and cultural engagement in the coffee-producing regions of Jamaica.
Our move to this iconic venue isn't simply about expanding our space. It's about elevating the entire experience to new heights. We're creating a platform that will welcome more attendees, showcase more vendors, and generate unprecedented opportunities for our stakeholders.
In addition, Minister Bartlett says throughout March, the Sip and Shop promotion will transition Kingston into a coffee lover's paradise, with special experiences at cafes and exclusive coffee tours across the city. The age limit for persons entering the Miss Jamaica Festival Queen competition has been extended to 30. Previously, the pageant was for ladies between the ages of 18 and 25. Organized by the Jamaica Cultural Development Commission, JCDC, the annual event includes coronations at the parish level to select a parish queen, all of whom will vie for the overall Miss Jamaica Festival Queen title at the Grand Finals. Production manager and coordinator of the competition, Andrea McCurdy, says the expanded age limit will open up a new demographic of women.
It will certainly attract a fresh set of women who would have been excluded otherwise. Women who are very passionate, who are hardworking in their communities, women who have given of their time and believe in their local communities and believe in their country and are strong women with a voice that just looking for an opportunity to be heard and to be seen.
According to Ms. McCurdy, while the age limit has been changed, other criteria for the competition remain the same.
You need to have been born Jamaican, naturalized Jamaican, or would have lived here for no less than 2 years. And of course, contributing to your community, active in your community and that kind of a thing.
The application period closes at midnight on March 14 for the Miss Jamaica Festival Queen competition. Applications can be submitted online at jcdc.awardsplatform.com. And finally, the National Leadership Prayer Breakfast will take place at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel. The 45th annual event will be held under the theme, Righteousness Exalts a Nation. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness met with representatives of the Prayer Breakfast Committee recently and updated them on the government's achievements. He said the administration will focus on productivity, growth, equity, as well as a safe, cohesive and peaceful society. Government leaders, opposition members, the private sector, civil society and other groups will come together to pray for the nation and leaders across all sectors. Donations generated from the event will be given to charity. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Lisa Rowe. Thanks for watching.
Let's make a quick stop at Jamaica House to hear what our Prime Minister has been up to for the past week.
Prime Minister prays for peace and prosperity, commissions $533 million Port Royal pipeline into service, and hands over NSHB houses across St. Mary. You're watching Jamaica House Weekly. I'm Jabertha Atkinson. Welcome. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness joined the leaders of the clergy in a recommittal of the nation to God at the 19th staging of the Heal the Family, Heal the Nation Church service at the National Arena. The event was held under the theme, Hour of Decision. Dr. Holness lauded the event for bringing the nation together under God's grace and guidance in 2025. The Prime Minister said the event serves as a powerful reminder of the strength and unity the island derives from God in seeking guidance to overcome challenges and wisdom to capitalize on opportunities throughout the year.
I extend God's richest blessings to you. I pray for a productive year for all of us. I pray for your good health. I pray that you will be hopeful, that you will have peace, and that prosperity and victory will be yours.
Prime Minister Holness urged persons to make time to reflect and recognize God's faithfulness. Dr. Holness also shared that though 2024 tested the country's resilience, the island's strength was revealed in the year. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister called on the congregation to pray for the nation.
So I call upon you this morning to continue in prayer. To continue in prayer. On your knees every morning, in your churches throughout the land. Continue to pray for our security forces, our policemen and women, the members of the JDF and MOCA, and all the other security entities in the country. I wish to thank them for their efforts, and I too will continue to pray for peace and security in our land.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness also met with representatives of the National Leadership Prayer Breakfast Committee. The 45th annual event is scheduled for January 16 at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel under the theme, Righteousness Exalts a Nation. Government leaders, opposition members, private sector, civil society, and other groups will come together to pray for the nation and the leaders across all sectors. Donations from the proceedings will also be given to charity. Last week also saw Prime Minister Holness venturing to Port Royal for the commissioning of an upgraded water supply system. Over 2,000 residents are benefiting from the pipeline replacement project done at a cost of $533 million.
What we have laid now are high-density polyethylene pipes, which are very robust, a little bit more flexible, and they are designed to last much longer than the old metal pipes. And these pipes can take the pressure of the pumped water supply to the area. And they are of a larger capacity as well. So there will be more water for Port Royal.
Prime Minister Holness says the new pipelines are expected to last up to 50 years. Meanwhile, Dr. Holness says Port Royal will become Jamaica's next economic hub following significant infrastructure investments made over the years in the East Kingston community. Among them, the cruise port, pier and customs facility, which are expected to generate revenue and fuel the island's economy.
Port Royal is going to become a new economic hub for Kingston. It will add to our GDP. It will create revenues which will more than pay back for the over $2 billion worth of investment that we have made when you add up everything together.
Prime Minister Holness adds that new restaurants and museums will soon be opened to enhance the tourism experience.
All of this investment that is coming here, it is to create Port Royal as a new destination, not just for tourists to come, but to enhance what is already the case. Port Royal is the destination for people in Kingston and St. Andrew. On the weekends, the place is packed. It is an entertainment and festival destination.
Prime Minister hopped over to St. Mary to hand over 3 new dwellings under the new social housing program NSHP. Dr. Holness says the government is considering a home improvement component of the program.
We are looking at a new program now that will seek to address the conditions of housing generally across the country. That once we have assessed the home as being in need, we will try to ensure that the house has at least one secure room. And that became very apparent after the hurricane that struck us in July, Hurricane Beryl. That several houses were just totally destroyed and lost roofing. But if they had one secure roof, one secure room, or one secure part of the building, the dislocation that happened would be minimized.
And finally, Prime Minister Holness paid tribute to the late Robert Russell, whom he described as a true visionary and patriot. Mr. Russell's funeral was held on Wednesday in Montego Bay, St. James.
The government of Jamaica is very proud of his accomplishments and his achievements. We acknowledge and recognize his contribution to building brand Jamaica, particularly in entertainment and tourism.
Mr. Russell died on December 11, 2024 at age 76. He operated the popular Pier 1 restaurant in Montego Bay, where he lived for almost 40 years. He was also a part of the team that founded Reggae Sumfest in 1993. And that's it for Jamaica House Weekly. Be sure to join us next time for more of the news stories coming out of the office of the Prime Minister.
"2024 was a year of progress and commitment to delivering justice for all Jamaicans. The Ministry of Justice worked on advancing legal reforms, improving access to justice, and empowering communities through outreach programs." Let's take a look at some of the key highlights from the ministry's year.
The Ministry of Justice is not only keen to get this program of peace building within our schools, but also from the schools to spread it into the communities. We want to thank the Canadian government UNDP for the gadgets. We have no doubt that they will help to improve the efficiency within our court system. We have no doubt that the idea is that you will improve the efficiency and the speed with which cases are being delivered. Each juror whose name is called for any circuit will be paid $2,000 for each day that juror attends circuit, or 2,000. Jurors who are impaneled and who serve on a case will now get 6,000 instead of the present 2,000, a 200% increase. We have increased the number of duty counsel who have been impaneled, and I can say, Madam Speaker, that everyone now who needs a lawyer at the police station, a duty counsel, or one in court, they just need to call a legal aid counsel and they're provided with an attorney.
I intend to collaborate with the executive so that the judiciary, the third arm of government, can take its rightful place in the governance of this country.
The amendment to the Maintenance Act seeks to allow for a maintenance order to be granted by the court after a child attains the age of 18 years for the purpose of engaging in a course of education or training.
The attorneys at law and justice service providers who have participated in this training have gained more than just technical skills in sign language. You have gained a critical understanding that legal aid is not merely a service, but a lifeline.
I will administer justice to all persons alike in accordance with the laws and usages of Jamaica without fear or favor, affection or ill will.
This amendment grants the DPP the right of appeal, and as a result, rules of court are currently being drafted to regulate the procedure necessary for the DPP to exercise the right to appeal.
If you're thinking of starting something this new year, why not try agriculture? You might be surprised by the benefits it offers. If you're interested, here are a few things to consider before getting started.
Farming is a way of life, especially here in Jamaica. Today, an increasing number of young people are getting involved.
Back then, persons used to look down on agriculture based on the stigma that agriculture is for a particular group of persons. But I am proud to say that that stigma has been reduced significantly. So no longer is agriculture a last option. It's a primary option where persons are now interested in pursuing even studies at the master's level in agriculture.
Getting started in agriculture can be tricky, so there are a number of things new farmers need to be aware of.
For young persons who would like to get involved in agriculture, the first thing I would say to them, they have to first assess their interest. Agriculture is a very wide industry with different sectors, and so they first need to look at, do I have an interest in crop production or animal production?
Crop production is the process of growing produce for domestic and commercial purposes, whereas animal production is the technology applied to keeping animals for profit. You know, feeding, rearing, and breeding. That's just the basics. So for the next few minutes, we'll learn more about getting started in crop production.
We at RADA, and the field staff particularly, when we are engaged about young persons getting into farming, when they approach us, one of the main things we want to emphasize is about training. A lot of persons who want to venture into agriculture, and they see it as something that they can get into without getting that technical knowledge, because it's easy to go and get the land, prepare and sow the seeds and all of that. But there's a lot of other issues you have to consider. You have to consider the pest and the disease control. As you say, you have to look at the weather condition, you have to look at the type of crop. Different crop require different environmental conditions. Two major things we also emphasize to new entrant farmers is we look at the markets. Don't just jump into production without thinking about your market. I know it's sort of tempting for a lot of persons when prices are high and it look very nice, and you can get a lot of income, but that's not always the case. Because by the time you put in that crop, the price is usually, and the crop come in, the price is usually low. So we look at the market. And another thing, we look at the cost of production. A lot of new entrant farmers, they want to get into production without looking at what it costs to produce a crop. That is very important, because that is how you can determine if you are able to make a profit based on how you estimate your costs and your market price and all of that. So we emphasize the cost of production. So those are some of the things we emphasize to new entrant farmers.
So there are different options such as agro-processing that young persons can venture. So you don't have to be looking at agriculture as going in the sun, sweating. You can still do that practice. That's the traditional practice. But there are some contemporary practices that involves technology, such as hydroponics and aquaponics. And so young persons can look at that option as well.
And that's it for today's edition of Jamaica Magazine. Remember, you can't let your failures define who you are. Instead, let your failures teach you. Do join us again tomorrow for another informative show. Remember to visit our website, jis.gov.jm, for more news you can use. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Do stay safe.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.